They called it the It City, a booming hub of music, food, startups, and Southern charm. But for locals and newcomers alike, the question has changed. It's no longer, should I move to Nashville? It's now, can I afford to stay? Because somewhere between the skyline rising and the rents doubling, the soul of Music City started to sing a different tune. One about financial pressure, survival, and the grind behind the Instagrammable dream. So today we're pulling back the curtain on what it really costs to live in Nashville in 2025, how it affects your chances at financial independence, and why so many people are rethinking everything. Nashville, Tennessee, home of honky-tonks, hot chicken, and hopefuls chasing stardom. But behind the neon lights and the booming economy lies a deeper story, one of rising rents, cost of living spikes, and a widening wealth gap. Over the past decade, Nashville went from a hidden gem to one of the fastest-growing cities in America. Tech companies moved in, the tourism exploded, and with that came soaring housing prices, congested highways, and a new breed of financial stress. For many chasing financial independence, especially millennials and Gen Z, Nashville felt like the perfect middle ground, cheaper than LA, cooler than Atlanta, and buzzing with opportunity. But is that dream still alive? As the sun rises over the rolling hills of Tennessee, a growing number of Americans are pinning their hopes on one place, Nashville. Known for its live music, hot chicken, and country charm, Nashville is fast becoming the face of a new American migration, a movement fueled not by wanderlust, but by economic survival. While the glossy brochures pitch Music City as a vibrant haven for creatives and entrepreneurs, the deeper story lies beneath the neon lights of Broadway and the sound of guitars strumming late into the night. It's a story about the cost of living, the pursuit of financial independence, and the raw, sometimes brutal reality of trying to build a future in an economy that often feels stacked against you. Meet Jessica and Ryan. In 2022, they left Los Angeles with 2 kids and a dream, to escape California's soaring costs and chase a version of the American dream that still felt attainable. They settled in East Nashville, drawn by the city's lower taxes and promises of affordability. At first, things seemed idyllic. They bought a modest home for what seemed like a bargain, $410,000, and began to rebuild their lives with hope, but reality set in fast. Groceries, once thought to be cheaper in the South, turned out to be only marginally less expensive than in LA. Property taxes, while lower than California's, began creeping up with the city's explosive growth. Health insurance premiums soared due to lack of competitive options. Childcare costs, scarce availability of preschools, and Nashville's rising utility bills began chipping away at their budget. It felt like we moved to save money, but we're still drowning, Jessica confided in a local community forum. The cost of living in Nashville has surged over the past 5 years. According to Zillow, the median home price in Davidson County has crossed $450,000 in 2025, nearly double what it was a decade ago. While that still looks attractive compared to coastal cities, it no longer spells cheap. Rents have followed suit. In East Nashville and the Gulch, one-bedroom apartments average between $1,800 to $2,400 a month, numbers once reserved for cities like Chicago or Denver. Then there's the matter of income. While the tech and healthcare sectors have brought higher-paying jobs to the area, the bulk of employment remains in the service sector, education, music, and small business, industries that don't always offer a living wage. The average salary in Nashville hovers around $56,000, which might sound decent until you factor in housing, student loan payments, and basic expenses. That income simply doesn't stretch far when gas prices, groceries, insurance, and everything else are also on the rise. Still, there's a paradox to Nashville's financial landscape. For those who are strategic, Nashville offers opportunity. With no state income tax, entrepreneurial types and remote workers can save thousands annually. That's one of the reasons why Nashville has quietly become a hotspot for digital nomads, YouTubers, and remote workers fleeing expensive cities. There's an edge here, a kind of gritty optimism that if you work hard and hustle, you might just beat the system. Consider Tyler, a freelance UX designer who relocated from Brooklyn. He pays $1,900 a month for a modern apartment near Belmont University and runs a small creative agency from his home. Without state income tax and by leveraging Tennessee's LLC-friendly laws, Tyler estimates he's saving $12,000–$15,000 annually compared to living in New York. He's even started investing in local real estate, betting that while Nashville might be more expensive than it once was, it's still on its way up. But not everyone is winning. There's a growing divide in Nashville between longtime residents and new arrivals. Gentrification has transformed entire neighborhoods. North Nashville, once a hub of Black culture and community, is now dotted with craft breweries and $800,000 townhomes. Locals who once paid $800 in rent are now being priced out as landlords chase wealthier tenants. In this rapidly transforming city, the dream of financial independence often clashes with the reality of economic displacement. Saving money in Nashville has become a delicate dance. While utilities are generally cheaper than in the Northeast, surging electricity demand during hot southern summers can skyrocket bills. Gas remains below the national average, but long commutes, due to limited public transport, can still eat into monthly budgets. Families who moved here for affordability now find themselves budgeting like they did in major metro areas, couponing groceries, delaying vacations, cutting back on extracurriculars for the kids. The local government, aware of the affordability crunch, has tried to respond. There are proposals for affordable housing expansion, more support for renters, and investment in transit infrastructure. But the changes are slow, and in the meantime, life doesn't pause for struggling families. The cost of daycare in Nashville now exceeds $11,000 annually per child, more than some in-state college tuitions. Meanwhile, inflation isn't helping. While the federal rate has cooled in recent quarters, Nashville remains hotter than most. That's because it's a magnet for growth, and with growth comes speculation. Investors continue to scoop up properties, driving up prices. Short-term rentals, Airbnbs dotting every block, limit housing stock, creating artificial scarcity. And yet, despite the squeeze, many Nashvillians continue to find ways to thrive. It's in the small, community-driven habits, buying local produce from farmers markets instead of grocery chains, sharing childcare between families, leveraging side gigs, food delivery, tutoring, content creation, to pad income. Nashville isn't a place where you coast. It's a place where you build, where sacrifice is expected, and financial independence isn't handed to you, but carved out over time, piece by piece. For the aspiring FIRE, financial independence, retire early crowd, Nashville can be both blessing and burden. If you're young, debt-free, and earning six figures, you can absolutely bank big wins here. But for middle-class families with student loans, medical bills, and modest incomes, Nashville might just feel like a prettier version of struggle. More hopeful, yes, but still relentless. Let's not forget the cultural costs. Part of the Nashville experience is rooted in its identity, tight-knit neighborhoods, rich history, a collaborative, creative spirit. As the city becomes more big city in feel, many longtime residents mourn what's being lost. The mom-and-pop diners are being replaced with chain restaurants. Quiet cul-de-sacs now sit in the shadow of cranes and condos. And with that transition comes a new kind of loneliness. The feeling that financial survival has overshadowed community connection. So what does it all mean? Can you still stretch your income in Music City? Yes, but it takes planning, hustle, and luck. You need to pick the right neighborhood. Avoid the trendiest spots unless your budget is flexible. Antioch, Donelson, Hermitage, and parts of Madison still offer more reasonable rents and homes, though those areas are now seeing upward pressure as well. You'll need a side hustle, or two. It's not uncommon for Nashvillians to have a full-time job and freelance on nights or weekends. Some teach music lessons, others deliver food, some flip furniture on Facebook Marketplace. Creativity is not optional in this economy. And most of all, you'll need to rethink what financial independence looks like. It may not mean early retirement in your 40s. It may mean paying off your home by 55, or investing in a duplex and living in one side, or simply not living paycheck to paycheck. There's a grittiness to Nashville that mirrors the reality of our national economy, that achieving financial independence today requires more than saving and budgeting. It takes adaptation, relentless decision-making, and sometimes, moving to a place like Nashville isn't the end of your financial journey. It's the beginning. Because in this city of songwriters and dreamers, the real story isn't just about how much cheaper life is. It's about how hard people are willing to work to make that dream a reality. It's not easy, but nothing worth building ever is. So how do you survive and thrive in Nashville today? Explore up-and-coming areas just outside the city like Madison, Jolton, or even Gallatin. Lower rent, more space, and often better community vibes. You don't need rooftop bars and $18 cocktails to enjoy Music City. Hit the dive bars, the free festivals, the farmers markets. Use high-yield savings, max out your Roth IRA, and track every dollar. Financial independence requires discipline, especially here. As of July 2025, Nashville's Metro Council is under pressure to tackle housing affordability. Proposals include more affordable housing units, rent control pilot programs, and stricter Airbnb regulations. Meanwhile, tech companies like Oracle and Amazon continue expanding their footprints in the city, adding jobs but also intensifying demand. There's also rising talk about improving mass transit, with a multi-billion-dollar plan on the table for new light rail systems and express bus lanes, but approval and implementation are still years away. Local activism is growing too. Residents are pushing back against unchecked development, lobbying for more green space, walkability, and true affordability. The city is at a crossroads, and how leadership responds in the next few years will shape Nashville's financial future for everyone. So is Nashville still a good place for financial independence? If you're strategic, maybe. If you're struggling, you're not alone. If you're thinking about leaving, you're not crazy. Nashville is a city of stories, and in 2025, one of the biggest stories is money. Who has it, who doesn't, and what it takes to make it here. The dream of Music City is still alive, but now it comes with a price tag. The question is, are you willing to pay it? Thank you so much for spending your time with me today. I really appreciate you watching. If you found this useful, a like would be fantastic, and subscribing helps me keep creating content you'll hopefully enjoy. Please share your experiences and any questions in the comments. I always try to read and respond. Your support keeps this channel going. Until our next video, take care and have a wonderful day.